This is Daily Dose of Darryl Viewer's Digest from the People's Motivation Bureau entitled Wisdom from Dr. Brown. It's amazing what you can learn from just a chat in a coffee shop. Remember, open the information section and you can see where to click to fast forward to any day. We also have QR codes for the website and the Motivation Bureau Daily Dose. Meet Dr. Barnsley Brown. You'll be excited to get to know her in this episode. From People's Motivation Bureau. Monday Magic, the real magic's in our heart. Get to know new people like Dr. Barnsley Brown.
Great. Okay. So I am a native North Carolinian. Unlike so many people, I was born in Goldsboro, North Carolina. Grew up in Raleigh. Went off to school to Wake Forest and to University of Edinburgh in Scotland. Came back to UNC, did my PhD. Boy, this is the fast version. And started my own business. I taught at UNC and at Duke for a summer, and I taught at Wake Forest before I decided in the year 2000 to start my own business, Spirited Solutions, professional speaking and coaching. So I can't believe this, but I've been in business over 21 years, almost 22 years, 21 and a half now. And I love what I do. I help spiritual women who are in business to double, triple, quadruple, or more their income and their impact in the world. And we do it fast with fun. We have a lot of fun. But I believe, and Darryl, I think you're the same way. I believe in that the more money we have, the more we can share. And I also believe that it's very important for women to have our own purse strings, so that if we're ever in any kind of situation that is toxic, whether it be like a work situation or it's a marriage or whatever, we can leave and we can take our children and we can go, or we can stay and suggest that person go elsewhere, right? We invite them to go elsewhere. But I think this is very important, and more women are starting businesses now than men in the United States. Because I think, we've realized that we can't, that we want the glass ceiling to be our own glass ceiling that we can break ourselves. We don't want to work under somebody else's glass ceiling. And actually, we break up all the glass ceilings in my mastermind. We figure out what are the limiting beliefs and the limiting activities and strategies that people are using that are not working in their business. And that's why folks do stuff so quickly in there.
Tuesday Truth. What triggered you to make changes in your life?
I love that. Okay, so it's an interesting story. I had done my dissertation on African American women's drama. I had published most of it in books and in the best journals in my field before I even graduated with my PhD. But when I went for job interviews, Darryl, I would have people say things to me, can I be blunt? Like, how do you as a white person teach African American literature? And I would reply things like this: well, I find it very interesting that you assume that I'm white. And then I would just continue to talk about my expertise. Because guess what? You didn't have to be British to teach Shakespeare. Correct?
That's right.
Yeah. And you didn't have to be, Mexican to teach a Mexican author. You didn't have to be, it was a way of ghettoizing the literature that I loved and the social issues that I love. I realized I was a renegade. That might surprise you. One of my coaches said, Barnsley, recently, you are a maverick. And I said, yeah, you're right. And I was then, but truthfully, academia was not ready for that. And I didn't want to have to kiss people's rear ends, Darryl, I'll be clear. So I decided on a particular day, I had gotten the tenure track offer of my dreams, right? And also the guy who I'd been involved with who had left the relationship. On the same day, they asked me to join this faculty, and he showed up at my door saying, oh, I miss you. And guess what? I said no to both. I did. I said no to both. It was not an easy thing. I did not have a backup. And I started my business with $1,000. I just said, I don't have anything else to lose. Let me start a business. I want to be in business. I don't want to have to bow to other people. I want to do things according to my values, right? And so, I remember just going to the gym across the street from my house for like 3 months and literally going in there and crying on the treadmill, Daryl. I'm serious. I would just cry about the guy, about my fear. I'm starting this business and I don't have a backup. I started with $1,000. And can I say this? I know you're a preacher, you're a retired preacher, but I started with $1,000 and a lot of boobs, not a lot of balls, because that did not apply to me. Seriously, that's how I started, and I became profitable from the first quarter. And the reason that I do what I do now is because at that time it took me over a decade to become a 6-figure business, all right? And the reason it did is because I tried to do everything on my own. I tried the cheap way, right? I don't want any other woman to go through that. And that's why I do what I do, because they can quickly in that year that we have together, get it together and monetize what they love doing and what God put them here to do.
Wednesday Wisdom. Is the Bible valuable even for non-Christians?
Absolutely, because it's a historical text, too. I mean, it's just interesting. I mean, point blank, it's just interesting. And, when I did my master's in Edinburgh, I had this idea. This is so long ago. I hadn't thought about this in a long time. The mystical experiences. This is what I wrote about. The mystical experience and silences in the modernist and postmodernist text. Okay, that's what I was writing about. Silences. Very interesting. But one of the things that I did is I read a lot of different mystical traditions. So I looked at some of the Christian mystics and read some of their stuff, and I read different mystics and Sufi mystics and different mystics from different traditions, and I agree with you about that. I can read the Quran and I can find some value in there. Even though I was raised Christian, I can read it and I can find principles that I can apply to life. I can read I can read Buddhist literature. In fact, one of my favorite authors died recently, and that is Thich Nhat Hanh. I loved his works. His book on anger is phenomenal, and I'm very attracted to the philosophical nature of Buddhism, right? And so I read that as well, and I can excerpt, truth. And the same for the Bible. Though that was how I was raised. I was raised Presbyterian, and I went to youth group. That was one of the things that got me through my childhood, I'll tell you, was going to youth group, and it made me who I am. So I'm with you. I think that so many wars are fought in the name of religion, and religion is man-made. Religion is man-made. Now, spirituality is not. Spirituality is the path that Buddha walked. Spirituality is the path that Jesus walked. And actually, if you study Buddha and Jesus, they did a lot of the same thing. So I have to believe, this is me, I have to believe that the face of God may be different in different cultures, right? The face of God may be different. And as we know, God was darker skinned. God was not an Aryan. He was dark skinned. He was Middle Eastern. Right? I mean, Jesus. I don't mean God, I mean Jesus. So there's a lot that we get to challenge in religion. And I also believe, just to say as a woman, I believe that if we truly are made in the image of God, and I do believe that, then God has to be way beyond male and female. Way beyond. Because I'm a woman, and I'm in the image of God. You're a man, you're in the image of God. And every human being is the image of God, right? The face of God. Absolutely. Holy Spirit comes, and I call them God bumps.
Yeah. I think too many people want to put God in a box and check off all the check marks and think, well, now I've got it. And God is a living being.
Right.
And a creator. And so God didn't say, well, I created, now I'm done.
Right.
He created the earth and the people and everything, but he continues to create in our spirits, in our lives, if we're open to what God has for us.
Exactly. Now, these things and even greater things shall you do. It's so very clear. And I like to say in some of my presentations, I'm like, well, guess what? Has anybody noticed that Jesus isn't on the planet right now? All right, so who are the hands of that energy? We are. We're the hands of that. We are the hands of that love and kindness, or not, you know.
Thursday Thrill. Cherish fun and family and adventure.
Yes, that was Machu Picchu in Peru. And funny thing was, I had always wanted to go to Machu Picchu from the moment I saw the picture of it. You know, I had just thought, wow, I need to go to this place. I didn't know much about it. And then I found a little bit about it. The funny thing was, this was before I ever married a Peruvian, right? And I ended up marrying a Peruvian and divorcing a Peruvian. But my daughter is half Peruvian and half domestic short hair, as I am. And so we have traveled many times to Peru. And one of the coolest things that happens when I go to Peru is there is a place in Lima called Hogar Ermelinda Carrera, and it is like it's like a cross between a mental institution and a juvenile delinquent home, Daryl. It's girls from like ages 12 to 18. At 18 they get emancipated, but 12 to 17 who have been abused. Some of them have been sexually abused, some of them have been physically abused, and it's run by nuns. And it's been there for over 100 years. Over 100 years they have run this place. And the nuns are awesome. Sister Maria Estella, I love her. But if you can imagine, it's these big walls, and at the top are all these broken bottles, right, to keep the girls from getting out. And it's in Lima. So when I go to Peru, I have always volunteered teaching Reiki, which is a method of natural stress relief. It's like a system for the laying on of hands that's talked about in the Bible in 1 Corinthians. And I have taught a small group of the leaders, the ones who were able to take it, right? Because a lot of the girls really have to be, there's a lot of rehabilitation that has to happen after all the traumas that they've endured. But I love doing that. And then on one of these trips, guess what? I went with my sister-in-law and we went to Machu Picchu too, and it was phenomenal. You know, they don't know exactly why the ruins are there. There are a lot of theories about it, but nobody's sure. And it really is one of the most amazing places I've been in the world. That's one of my hobbies. That's what I love. I love improv comedy, and that picture there is one of the performances we did. After one of the performances we did at the Seymour Senior Center in Chapel Hill, North Carolina. And I love improv comedy. And in fact, this is funny. During COVID, the theater that I was performing in a troupe, you know, it got shut down, right? Everything got shut down, and it was sad. This theater was allied with a theater in New York City, actually. But of course they couldn't make it, and it got shut down. And so I found a theater company in Charlotte, North Carolina called Queen City Comedy. Somehow they came across my my radar, and I started taking some Zoom improv classes. And so and they have global people, so I've been performing in their shows, for the last few months, and there are people from all over. Like, we have people from the Philippines, from Austria, from Canada, from the United States. It's pretty freaking amazing, and I really thought, I didn't think I would enjoy the Zoom improv, but there's some really neat things you can do on video. Yes, I have a daughter. She's 15, and she also has taken improv classes, and she is actually this summer, she loves dancing, but she left it for a while. She kind of got bored with it, but she's going back to the American Dance Festival studios, and she's going to be in a couple of the teenage camps this summer dancing again. So I'm really happy about that, because COVID has been very hard on her. You know, yesterday, I was working from home, and she had a teacher work day, and she's like, "Mom, don't you get tired of being at home?" And I said, "No, honey, I really enjoy it." And she's like, I said, "Do you get tired?" And she's like, "Uh-huh." Dance is one of her passions, and one of the coolest things that she got to do is she got to perform at DPAC, at the Durham Performing Arts Center. And this was with Lobolis. They're a modern dance company that comes to the American Dance Festival, which, you know, is a huge festival, one of the biggest in the nation, and maybe the world too, actually. People come from all over. And she got to do a summer camp with Lobolis called the Shadow Camp. And they had this scrim, and they would do all these cool things that, it was amazing.
Friday Flashback. How do you continue to learn and share? Do you have any books we could read?
Yes. Well, you definitely don't want to read them. Okay, so on my website, I have an ebook that is How to Overcome Overwhelm in 7 Easy Steps, and anybody can get it. Daryl, it's at spirited-solutions, so SPIRITED-solutions with an S on the end.com. Make sure you put the dash or you will get a boring computer company, all right? Put the dash, people. So that one's available free for anybody, and you'll also, with it, you'll get a complimentary subscription to my email newsletter. And you know, something cool I'm doing, Daryl, is I have started having some gatherings where I give a short business presentation, and then we talk. And I do some coaching with people, and I just do that free. I've also done some healing stuff on Zoom where we get together and we essentially meditate together. And so those things, you know, when people are on the mailing list, they'll get information. They can come free. It doesn't matter where you are. You can be anywhere. As long as you have a computer or a smartphone, you can get in the Zoom room. So I'm really enjoying that part of connecting internationally now with people, nationally and internationally. It's really cool. That's been a real benefit of COVID, I think, to realize that we have a global community. So that one's available free. Then I also have a book, 2-book and audio package, which is Get Out of Debt, Get On With Your Life, Every Woman's Guide to Create Prosperity with What You Have Now. And what I'll say about that is that the reason most people don't have prosperity is they don't align their spending of their time, energy, money, and focus, i.e. focus and love. They don't align it with their values. And so they're essentially just having drains on their energy, time, money, and focus. They're scattered. They don't have enough money. And so in that, this book package is different because there's a lot that I talk about. I quote from the Bible. I talk about, and so if you like the Bible, you know, you don't have to like the Bible to read it, but I do quote from the Bible. And there are a lot of affirmations that I also include at the end of the book so that people can use those to change their mindset. And it includes strategies that you can do, such as how to pay off your mortgage really fast in like half the time or less. So it's very practical, but it also has the mindset stuff in it, Daryl, because you and I both know if I could sit here and I could tell you all this strategy of how you could do X, Y, Z, you know, how you can save money on your insurance or how you can travel the world frugally, and I do put that stuff in the book, by the way, but you aren't going to do any of it unless you have the mindset that you're deserving of that. Unless you have the mindset that it's possible. And that, in fact, divine spirit, source, God, whatever name you call it, that loving spirit, that spirit, that source, God wants you to have abundance. And so much of what I talk about in the book is the mindset piece too. And there are 2 different books. One's more on mindset, and one is 50 Nifty Strategies to Prosper Right Now. And it also has an audio I recorded with a friend of mine, Dr. Suzanne Gaddis, and it's the top 3 ways to prosper in the life of your dreams. So that's something people can listen to in their car or, you know, whenever. I have some people who say they listen to it over and over.
Final words of wisdom. Sum it all up for us.
I love that. Just sum up your life, 56 years in 10 seconds. No, here's what I would say to everybody, and really just, I hope you listen to this with your heart. You are the answer to someone's prayer, all right? That's what I would say to you. You, yes, you are the answer to someone's prayer. And that, I mean that in every sense of the word, in your work, in who you are, how you show up in the world. your friends, everyone around you, you are the answer to someone's prayer. We never know exactly who that person is, but they'll be put in front of us if we're willing. So just remember that you're the answer to someone's prayer, today and every day.
Saturday Summary. Saturday Summary. Monday Magic. Get to know new people like Dr. Barnsley Brown. Tuesday Truth. Be willing to make changes in your life, even if it involves pain. Wednesday Wisdom. Seek and be open to God's wisdom at all times in your own life. Thursday Thrill. Cherish fun and family and be open to new adventures. Friday Flashback. Continue to learn and share with others every day. You are the answer to someone's prayer. Yes, you. Even share this daily dose with them also. Sunday Silence. What new person have you met this week who has brought you a new perspective about life? Pause and reflect. What have you done this week to allow changes to take place in your own life? Pause and reflect. In what ways have you been seeking and remaining open to God's wisdom this week? Pause and reflect. In what new ways have you cherished fun, family, and new adventures this week? Pause and reflect. How have you continued to learn this week, and how are you sharing that knowledge with others? Pause and reflect. This is Darrylpeebles, the man behind the microphone, bringing you something positive each day from the Peebles Motivation Bureau, both positive, personal, and professional. Remember, there are 3 divisions: digital, real life, and print. But in the digital, we have not only the YouTube channel, but the website, Zoom events, and much more. In the real life, we do pulpit supply, funerals, weddings, magic shows, keynote speakers, and more. And in the print division, not only books, but magazine articles, newspapers, and custom artwork. Locally ordered books from me can get signatures and special discount. This one is already out and about, helping others. Churches and pastors have special discounts. I appreciate you, your ideas and support. Keep them coming. These are other areas that I might be able to help you, and these are my contact points. This is Daily Dose of Darryl, responding to the free and gracious gift of God. I am using humor, the art of illusion, modern technology, and decades of serving God and communities to work every day to uncover the beauty in all people and experiences coming my way, endeavoring to educate, entertain, and inspire. Each dose on this channel can help move us toward a better, healthier, and more informed mind, body, and spirit. I'm excited to be a small part of the expanding of our capacity to learn, love, and forgive, and together leave this world a better place for all. God bless you.